Hello, everybody. Stars About Stars and me, Irina Kutsenko, we are greeting you. And today we have a very special guest, superwoman, super wife, super mother, business consultant, and host and author of Worked Up Project with JACLYN Beck. Hello, darling.
Hello. First of all, I love the way you say my name. You could say my name all day.
Oh my God. Thank you so much. You have a beautiful name to pronounce.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure, you know. And now we're going to go deeper because I know that you're as well astrology lover and, you know, love to dig the truth.
I am so excited for this. I was up last night. I was like, I can't wait. I get my reading tomorrow with Irina. So I can't wait.
It's such a pleasure, believe me, that we are talking the same language, you know, of numbers, of love and relationships and all things together.
Likewise. I feel the same.
Great. So now we can start. First question is, your birth number is 18. It's a symbol of moon and emotions. What is your favorite feature in yourself? What are you proud of?
Oh, wow. We're really just going deep out of the gate, aren't we? What's my favorite feature of myself? Yeah. That's a very loaded question. I would say I like how I can make other people feel comfortable.
I can feel it, believe me. When we had podcast, that was a great feeling.
Thank you.
You're such a caring personality.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure that people at home and your friends and relatives, they feel the same way, even more appreciated.
I hope
so. Great. You know why I ask this question? I explain you because people, they always criticize themselves and they are never proud of themselves. That's why it was my first question, because you're a business consultant and you know how to coach people. And it was very important for me to hear what is your advantage, how you see yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, question number 2. Your birth month symbolizes the hermit in tarot reading, who is very wise, and this type of personality loves to spend time by himself. Yes. In your case, by herself. Is it true? And how did you come out with podcast? How usually your business idea come to your head?
Well, that's a great question. So I would say that I have multiple layers to my personality. And I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but I think it's my Leo moon, which is the reason why I have my podcast.
We have similar thing. I have it too.
Yeah, exactly. But I've always had an element of being a performer. I had this conversation recently with someone. I'm great one-on-one. I'm great talking in big groups. But when I'm in a group of 10 to 20, I get very nervous. Because it's more about me. It's less about the performance and it's more about me. And so when you say hermit, I take that. I've always said I'm an outgoing introvert.
Yeah.
So I love people. I love being around people. I also find it very tiring.
Oh yeah, they drain a lot of energy.
Yeah. So whenever I'm around a lot of people, I go home at night and I lay on my couch and watch bad television because I need to just shut my mind off and be alone and recharge.
Digest it, to process it and let it go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Great answer. Interesting. From 10 to 20 people. So this is something, you know, I love boutique events about spirituality coaching, no matter what, because like this, you can share. You really share yourself with everybody. And that's correct energy exchange. That's what I think.
Yeah. And I think I've worked on it. I've gotten over it.
Yeah.
But it's a lot more natural to me to either be one-on-one or talking to a really big group. But there's something about the intimacy of a small group.
Tell me, please, who could be your potential client? Who is an ideal client for you?
Yeah, so I have 2 arms of my business. So one is I help small businesses be more efficient. So anyone who wants to scale, anyone who wants help with their messaging from a business perspective, anybody who wants to be thoughtful about putting processes and systems and procedures in place to make things run smoother, make the machine run smoother.
Yep.
That's a great business client for me. On the other hand, I also work with professionals and individuals who want to be more effective. Either they want a promotion or they want to pivot in their career, or they are thinking about the next step. They are thinking about, do I want to leave this industry and go into another industry? So someone who is exploring those sorts of things. I tend to work with people who work in high stress, high power environments with very strong personalities. So think financial services, private equity, venture capital, law, tech. But I really work with anybody.
What is your best advice how to overcome and handle burnout?
Burnout. That's very loaded. There's a lot of different ways you can go about that. To me, burnout means that one of two things is true. Either you're simply overworking, right? You're just working too much, or you're working in pursuit of something that's not aligned with your personal values.
Not as your mission.
Right. And so I do think that when you are serving your purpose or your mission, and I know that can sound a little foofy, but if you're very clear on what's important to you, if you're very clear on how you can live aligned with those values, and you're fundamentally not living aligned with those values, you're going to burn out. And so I think the remedy to both of those is if you're working too hard, make sure you're taking care of yourself. And only you know the best way to take care of yourself, right? Whether it's you need to take a bath so you have an hour to recharge, whether it's watching a bad TV show like me, whether it's reading a book, spending time with your family, going for a run, exercising, whatever it is.
Switch the focus.
Yeah. And then the other side of the coin is if you're in a situation that isn't fundamentally aligned with your values, try and make a change.
Yeah. I do completely agree with you. Recently, I had a burnout. First time in my life, I recognized what is that. It was horrible, but it was because of overworking.
Yeah.
You know, preparing this podcasting and so many things and book and etc. I was waking up every day like 5 o'clock, doing million different things, variety of them. And one day I understood I can't just stand up. So I had to lay down to relax, you know, to travel to peaceful Arizona, to see something different, to experience different type of energy. You're totally right. Thank you so much. And when you're talking about branding for one person, as I understood, it's not, is it marketing or it's more financial, like settings in your mind? What is your focus most of all?
Yeah. So mostly it's messaging. So what I mean by that, so my business, it focuses really on 3 things. It focuses on clarity.
Yeah.
It focuses on communication and relationships. And navigating all of those. My philosophy is that those 3 things are the beating heart of business. And so when it comes to working with a business client, right, you know, you need to be really clear on what you're offering, what your value proposition is, what you do as an organization, who your ideal client is, exactly like what you just asked me, right? And then you need to be able to articulate that and communicate it clearly to your stakeholders around you. And then, because nothing is done in a vacuum, you're going to be working with tons of people. So it's about doing it in a way that exhibits emotional intelligence and doing it in a way that gets you where you want to be. Individuals, it's the exact same thing. Whether or not you're leading a business, whether or not you're an employee within an organization, it's less about marketing and it's more about messaging. Because even on your day-to-day, you're having to communicate messages back and forth to people. You need your employees to do certain things. You need the people you're working with to do certain things. You need, great example, you were just talking about burnout, right? You have this laundry list of things to do. How do you prioritize it?
Yeah.
Right. And then it's a matter of aligning what needs to be done and doing it in an effective way. So it's either communicating it effectively, making sure that what you're saying is aligned with how you're acting. So your actions and your behaviors are aligned with what you're doing. And then again, navigating the relationships of everyone that you're working with emotional intelligence.
Definitely.
So that you do it with more ease.
Thank you so much. And we come back to our astrological research. Question number 3. Your life path number is 7.
Okay.
That gives unexpected changes.
Ooh.
And you believe in astrology, as we discussed before, and numerology as well. Did you have situation that taught you trust and believe in the universe?
Yes. Multiple times.
That was fast.
Yes.
That was another proof that you're fast. Quick answer.
Yes. Definitely. I mean, the thing that pops into my head very clearly is COVID and the pandemic. You know, my husband and I, we were always talking about leaving New York City because our family wasn't really up there anymore. And the pandemic, obviously it was horrible and so many people lost their lives.
Yeah.
It very unexpectedly thrust us into this situation where we ended up near our families and we ended up pivoting in ways that we wanted to pivot in our careers. And we we're shown the path to opportunity that we didn't really think was available before. And so I think that taught me that things happen for a reason. And, I have a very firm belief that strategy and planning and goals are very important, but the way you get there is fluid and it can be flexible. And I think that taught me trust, and there's the bigger plan.
Tell me, please, a little bit more about your mix of mentalities and bloods, because you have a beautiful one, about your background.
Oh, my family background?
Yeah.
Eastern Europe.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So
I'm proud that so beautiful women are from there. Thank you, JACLYN.
Thank you.
You're so beautiful.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Thank you. So Mars and square Saturn. Mars is a planet of activity.
Yeah.
And Saturn, planet of restrictions. So there, in stress aspect, indicates high discipline. What is your main statement in everyday work with client?
I would say that I'm very structured, which to me speaks to the discipline that you're saying. And I think that I keep people on track. So if there's a goal to, an engagement with a client, or if there's a goal to a session with a client, I make sure we get there. So when you say discipline, that's what it means to me. Really focusing on what is the desired outcome, and then making sure that we weave and we get insights and all the important stuff, but that we ultimately get where we want to go.
You're actually a person who represents perfect balance of solving everyday, down-to-earth questions, and you're very disciplined and very structured in your mind, very aware and conscious. And from the other side, you're very easygoing and spiritual and trustful to the universe. Tell me, do you have any special technique that you experience yourself, like writing wishes, manifesting, I don't know, doing some stuff on rising moon, descending moon, new moon, or wherever?
That's a great question. First of all, I appreciate that. I don't. I think from a very young age, I think part of the reason why I was drawn to astrology is because it's a way that you can learn about yourself.
Yeah.
And I was always all about learning about myself and who I was and what made me tick. So I don't have any type of ritual or practice that I do. I try to have gratitude every day. I try and do these things, but I'm going to be honest, it's not like I have a journal sitting next to my bed and I write them down every day. I wish I did.
Have you? I think you have so many, you have a husband, you have a kid. We discussed 1.5, the second one is coming.
Yeah.
You have so many obligations and responsibilities and clients and projects. So you don't have time for writing.
Yeah, no, but it would be nice to have a ritual.
Yeah, that's cool. I was curious about that. Okay, Venus square Neptune. Two planets of love. One is spiritual, another is tough love. The risk of drifting into fantasy, avoiding reality. Are you a dreamer?
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. And do you believe in an intuitive way of building up business? Because you're business consulting. It's all about structure. But
yeah, I do. So it's interesting because in my business, I use personality assessments. And one of the things we assess for is intuition. I believe there has to be gut. You have to follow your gut. You have to follow your instinct, your spidey sense, whatever you want to call it, because usually it's right. I'm also a big believer that it needs to be supported by the data.
Yeah.
And it has to be supported by the facts. So that's probably where the balance comes in that you're talking about.
Yeah.
But I think you absolutely need to have both. I would say that the data is probably more, well, at least for me. So I can't say this is a blanket statement, but the data for me is more impactful to the actual day-to-day business activities. The gut is really impactful to me about the people. And my intuition about the people that I'm working with.
Thank you. I love one of genius that is Steve Jobs. So, he's a great personality and everybody will remember him forever. He was favorite one of my father that I trusted a lot with his opinion. So I was thinking about this apple idea because I never read what is the purpose to make it symbol of apple. For me, apple is something green, light, healthy, complete.
Yeah.
Full. And this missing part of apple, it's always something missing. And he was always compensating with his genius ideas.
Yeah.
So do you have somebody that you trust and respect so much as a business figure who achieved a lot in this nowadays world, or maybe previous generations?
That's a great question. I think models and mentors are very important.
Yeah.
I would say that I've been on my own journey because I think I grew up, again, very structured where there were certain expectations of me. And so I think the people who have taught me the most, fortunately for me, and I feel blessed to have this, are the people that I've actually met on my journey. So it's less about big business figures because I don't know how this is going to come off, but I don't really want to be anyone else. I want to be my own thing.
Yeah.
And it took me a long time to say that because I used to look at like Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan, and say, I want to be him. Right. But it took me a while to realize I didn't. And the people who have been most influential in my life are the people I've met along the way and have been able to guide me through their wisdom, whether it be, I always invoke the name of a wise older woman that I know, a very wise woman. And, I trust her advice implicitly. I've had mentors in my career who I've learned by observing the way that they deal with people, the way they deal with situations that have been very impactful and important to me. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, actually, because you attract your clients, they are part of you. And astropsychologically, your answer means that you're very mentally healthy and stable and you just appreciate yourself as our partners. And, like everything what is part of us.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah, really. It's what people never appreciate. They want to be somebody else. They think that grass is always greener in the neighboring house. That is not. That's great answer.
Well, I would also say it's taken me a long time to be able to say that. And I credit that to therapy.
Yeah.
So it's taken me years and years to be able to acknowledge that. And I think therapy is an amazing thing that everybody should do.
Absolutely. I hear. But I can't disagree. Okay. Moon square transformative planet that is Pluto. This aspect does not tolerate interference in their lives. So trials make you stronger. How to teach kids to respect money from the childhood and build up money relationship in the correct way with no greediness. What do you think? You have a kid, 1.5.
Yeah.
Second is coming, and you're a business consultant. Do you think that we have to work on business ideology since childhood to teach kids to stand for themselves, to make first money, but not without getting greedy at the same moment?
Yeah. So to me, that goes back to the question of values.
Yeah.
Right. And I had a really great conversation the other day with someone about what drives you, what propels you. And what I've found is that really, quote unquote, successful, whatever that means to people, people are the ones that have a purpose over and above materialistic achievement. So it's not money for money's sake.
Yeah.
It's, I want to get money and have this impact. I want to change people's lives. I want to help people do this. I want to support people to do Y or Z or X. And I think that's why I beat my drum so hard on clarity and communication, because from a business perspective, I think businesses need to really be clear on how they're positively influencing and impacting their clients.
Definitely.
And be able to communicate that to their clients. And then obviously it's business, it's about profit, right? But that comes from serving the mission of how they're trying to help their clients. Because if there's a disconnect there, the money's not going to come. Right. And so I do think from a young age, instilling those values in kids is important too, because it's very similar.
How much money is considered to be enough for the happiness?
So there are actual scientific, experiments that have been done that prove that over, I think it's $70,000. I'm probably misquoting it. Every incremental increase in money doesn't make that much of a difference. And so that to me talks to expectation versus reality. And I know someone who says the key to life is low expectations. I don't necessarily agree with that, but there is an element of if the goalpost always shifts, you're never satisfied. And if you're never satisfied and it's only about the car or the house or the fancy vacation, there's an emptiness to it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I see the world.
You know what was the answer of my mother to that question? And she's a great woman and businesswoman at the same moment in family business. She said that money have to cover your all activities or whatever you choose in life.
Yeah.
I don't know. You love good food, you love sports, you love traveling, no matter what is your lifestyle. From the other point of view, you still have to have a space for something. What is your dream?
Yeah.
Like this, you will never stop.
Right.
And you will always grow.
Yeah. And that to me is about the purpose part of it. It's not just about the material. It's about the why.
Thank you. So in your childhood, Mars square Uranus, that is planet of unexpected events that we discussed before, period of activity, probably risk of accidents even. Maybe something happened to you by that time. And actually you have a lot of choices that you had to handle during the life. What was the hardest? So my question is about little or big trials in childhood and growing up period of life.
How therapeutic do we want to get? Well, the first thing that comes to my mind, I broke my femur when I was 14.
Sorry, what did you break?
My thigh bone.
Oh.
When I was 14 in front of my entire high school, which was fun.
Oh.
It was fun. I mean, it was fine. It was interesting because I had just joined my high school dance team and then I broke my leg.
Yeah.
And I was so excited to join and I was so excited to do the practice and everything. And I remember I had them bring a chair for me and I would still practice with everybody because my goal was that I was still going to be able to compete. And so I learned all the moves. I mean, at least the upper half of my body while sitting in a chair so that when I healed, I would be able to compete with everybody.
Is it important to win or just to compete is enough?
I've always been driven by winning, but I don't think, how do I say this? I think winning has different definitions.
Yeah.
So for me, winning doesn't mean someone else loses. It's not about beating someone else. It's just about being the best I can be. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Moon conjunction Uranus, strong intuition, unexpected situations related to home or friends.
Huh.
Have you had something like that?
Unexpected situations, home or friends.
I think you're a very empathic personality, very supportive.
Oh, thank you.
Did you have important stories that happened to your surrounding when you were in?
I mean, I like to think of myself that way. I would say
maybe somebody's story influenced you.
Yeah, this is what I would say. I've been told from a young age that I'm an old soul, whatever that means. And I think, I think I was mature from a young age and I took a lot on that didn't necessarily belong to me, if that made sense.
Yeah, we are similar.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. And so part of my journey in growing up has been shedding some of that. That's what I would say.
Thank you. 16 years old, aspects of Neptune give interest in art, unusual money making, love at the first sight. What happened by that time?
16. I got my license. I mean,
I just recently got it in the United States. Lucky you are.
Congratulations. I try to think. I'm like, oh my gosh, my memory is not good. What happened at 16?
It was about money making already, interest in art, love, all together.
Well, I mean, I was 16. I think I was falling in love every day with a different guy.
I hope your husband doesn't listen to my podcast at the moment. We're going to cut it. No, never. We are as we are, and we love to appreciate it that way.
Yeah, no, Yeah, I think I was just a normal teenage girl who, would see a cute boy and fall for him. But I do think I always had this drive in me when it comes to, I've always had two sides of my personality. I've always had this very dedicated business, analytical person, my Virgo. And then I've always had this spiritual, creative, musical.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to.
Like musical side to me, which is like my Pisces and my Leo.
Yeah. So you were dancing, so you love music, you love dance.
Exactly. But I don't know if anything happened when I was 16. I mean, when I was probably 24 or 25, I got connected to this great charity at the time that would basically go into schools in underprivileged areas and help them create
24-25 strong emotions, sudden changes in life.
Oh,
is it that?
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily sudden changes in life, but it was an amazing charity that I got connected to these great people and helped put together a fundraiser. 900 people ended up coming at Webster Hall in New York City. It was amazing. We had like rock bands coming. We were auctioning off like Slash's top hat. It was really cool. And after that, I was like, you know what? I need to find my way back to music. And I bought myself a keyboard and I bought myself a guitar and I just retaught myself how to play. So I think I've always had that side to me. And the tables probably tilted a little too far to the analytical business side for a while I was younger. And then in my 20s, I was able to come back to it.
Great. 20 years old, love to spend in money. That's women should do. How did you make your first money?
So I have been working since I was 12. I think 12. I always babysat when I was younger.
Cool.
And I was taught from a very young age the importance of saving and investing. I'm very fortunate in that way. So I joke I was groomed for Wall Street, but I would babysit. I actually worked at a doctor's office. I helped basically transfer an entire doctor's office onto the computer from physical paper when I was probably 14 at the time. And I would answer phones and things like that, do administrative and organizational stuff around the office. I worked at a wealth management office in high school a few days after work.
Yep.
After school. Again, organizing people's offices, answering phones, doing odd jobs. But I think it taught me a lot about professionalism and how to conduct yourself in a professional environment. And then I would intern every summer when I wasn't in school. So I would get jobs every summer at different companies doing different things. And I was just a natural problem solver. So I would go in and try and solve everybody's problems. And then, went to university internships. And then I ultimately landed a job on Wall Street and worked there for 13, 14 years.
You know what my dad said the other day for me, that was part of my tough education, but he was very loving and caring. He told me, darling, are you done with your home task? I said, yeah, I'm tired. Yeah, go and sweep the floor. I said, Father, I'm tired. He said, no, your rest is a change in activity. And it was part of my education because he always let me do what I want in life. Thank God, I was blessed with that. So anyway, I have a question for you, because now we have two, young generation. People are so modern. Everybody's making herself being a brand. And there are two types of women nowadays. One side is very feministic that we can experience, especially here in the United States, because you're from, you have this Eastern background, but you were raised up here.
Yeah, I'm fifth generation American.
Yeah,
so I'm very American.
But you still have it in your blood, you know? So I see one woman there, trust the universe, trust your man, take life as a dance, manifest, write your wishes, be sexual, cook at home, playing with their sexuality, that I don't mind. Sexuality is a very important part of life. It's energy of birth, that's how it should be. But it's overplaying.
Yeah.
And the other is tough money makers.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be, I don't need a man. Don't pick me up. Don't take care of me. I don't ask you what I want in life. I don't need your advice. So it's oh my God, north and south. So it's completely, and there are women who are in the middle. As I see you, known you a little bit, in person and through birth chart reading. You're the type of woman who is still feminine and loving and caring and sexy and in a good way, independent.
Thank you.
But family oriented.
Yeah.
So how to get that balance? And do you think women should have her own money at all?
Okay. So women, yes, have your own money. I was taught from a very young age about the importance of independence and building up skills so that you never had to rely on somebody else. And I think that came from generational, I credit that to my grandmother, to be honest, because it was a different generation. Her family didn't have enough money to send her to school or anything. So she had to figure out how to get by. She had 4 daughters and instilled in all of them the importance of independence and work. And I think that's trickled down to my generation. Also, there's a lot of women in my family. And so I think that's very important. I also think that people are multi-layered. They're multifaceted. And so I personally don't believe you can put anyone in a box.
Yeah.
Because people are onions. They have different layers. They have different facets to their personality. And I think putting them in boxes limits them. And so I think there's a way to be authentic. And what I mean by that is be who you are and have that balance, right? Because I can be a successful business person and a mother.
Yeah.
The two aren't mutually exclusive. And in fact, the fact that I'm a mom probably makes me a better business person. And the fact I'm a business person probably makes me a better mom, right? I always joke.
I love that combination.
Thank you. But I always joke that, management, leadership in organizations, it's so much like parenting.
Yeah.
It's about action, consequence, expectation. I mean, that's all it is.
I love the theory, how you called it.
Right? I mean, so I think that it's becoming more acceptable because I also acknowledge, look, I grew up on Wall Street. And so the women who came before me on Wall Street was very much a male-dominated industry. And the only way for them to succeed or grow in their careers was to adopt a lot of male traits. And I think it's changing. And I think, people accepting diversity of thought and people accepting that people bring different things to the table. And I think that's a really good thing because there's also a lot of research that talks about how diversity of opinion and thought creates better problem solving.
JACLYN, I really appreciate you. You're absolutely fantastic woman, but your heart is taken. So you're my first guest for business, for career seeker, but you found yourself. That is very important, your mission. But I have a question for you. In case now with a magic stick, I had to take out your mission in life, that is consulting people on business.
Yeah.
And you forgot all your knowledge and you start from scratch. Which profession would you choose? Everything but not business consulting.
See, I want to ask you. I want to say, what does it say? I'm destined in the stars. So I actually think, okay, so I think 2 things. 1, people, definitely. Something about people.
Communication.
Yeah. And something with performance or speaking. So I think maybe a therapist.
Or maybe what you're doing now, podcasting.
Podcasting. Something that has to do with talking about people, which frankly is what I do now.
What about news reporter?
What's funny about that? I was on my high school news show.
You see?
I was an anchor and I used to want to go into news. I have a very good friend who's
How do I know?
Because you have my stars.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, but I would love something like that. I think that would be really fun.
Yeah, I think you would be a great journalist, something like you have such a trustful energy that I would believe if you tell me, I don't know, from forecast up to business news or something else, about spirituality, whatever, I would take it from you.
Oh, thank you.
You have that look that, I don't know, really trustful field that is built up between us.
It's funny because as you're talking, I'm thinking too, I went back to my high school a few years after I graduated and I saw a teacher of mine. He was my government teacher. He was like, let me guess, you're an attorney. And I was like, no. He's like, what? I would have thought you would be a lawyer by now. And so I think growing up, people always thought I was going to be an attorney.
Another question. If
Yes.
you would have been an attorney, would you defend, I don't know, businesses, women, divorces? What's going to be your field?
I don't know. It would have to be in service of people, helping people somehow.
Great.
It all goes back to the people, helping people somehow.
Helping profession is a part of you.
Yeah. Like I don't think I would be content being a defense attorney for a criminal who, stole millions of dollars from people. Like, I don't think I could sleep with myself at night, You know
what is interesting? Your year of birth that I didn't mention through numerology is connected to beauty and harmony. So no matter what, even if it's little apartment or it's a big one, it should be always beautiful, cleaned, organized, this atmosphere around you. And it should be non-stop variety of different projects, including kids, actually.
Yeah.
So I think you're on the right way, and whatever you decide to do with your podcasting and that type of communication, it will grow very fast.
I hope so.
Because it's what your numerology says.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so what else we have here on your birth chart reading? Interesting periods while 28, 29. Some kind of, change from actually 28 to 31. What happened in your life?
I met my husband. I moved to London. We got engaged and then we got married.
That's just simple stuff, just for the most important events in life. That's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we go to the next question. That was easy. Okay, and 35, transformation of thirds. That gives you Mercury in Pluto. Very important period of life right now. And what do you think in general push person for a change?
Well, I think everyone's different. I'm a big believer that there's no one size fits all when it comes to anything. For me, what pushed me for a change, which is interesting because I'm making all these changes around 34, 35, right? Yeah. I like to joke that my entire identity changed in a period of 3 years. For me, what pushed me was wanting to do something that was more natural to me and more aligned with what was important to me. I'm more aligned with what I think my purpose is. And I don't mean that in an ego way, like I have this purpose on earth.
Yeah.
But I do think I've been driven by positively helping people. And I think I've wanted to live a life that allows me to do what I want to do, have the lifestyle I want to have, but also be present as a wife and a mother. And it kind of goes back to your balance question. So I think that's what drove me to make my change. I wanted to live a whole life as opposed to one life at the sacrifice of another side
full
of
and
me.
Complete.
Yeah.
Do you believe in destiny at all, that everything is predicted and we are just experiences our karma tasks and previous thing that we had to work out from previous lives? Or you believe that we are creators, like Tony Robbins says, and everything depends on us?
I believe in destiny.
You do?
Yeah. I believe that everything happens for a reason. I do also believe the saying, God helps those who help themselves. So I don't think you can just sit inside all day.
There's no other hands.
Right. Like, I don't think you can sit inside all day and expect things to happen. I think, what is meant to happen will unfold as long as you're also helping yourself. Does that make sense?
Yes, a lot of sense. Sometimes my clients, they told me when I did pure astrology that I don't do right now because I'm into relationship expertise. And, people ask me, oh, Irina, you told me this year I'm going to build up a business. And I say, okay, what did you do for that? He said, I wasn't really in a mood. I was laying down, was relaxed, asking for opportunities to come. I said, asking how? Like asking God, it's a good thing to, this joke, go and buy at least a lottery ticket,
right.
So take a chance. So it's always place for a prayer. It's always place for a move.
Yeah.
It's the only one possible combination in life how to achieve your dreams and goals. Mm-hmm. Okay. And JACLYN, oh my God, I can't let you go. I them all my questions, but I want to keep you here. And you're my number one for careers, and you're so wonderful.
Thank you.
But I still have to ask you, because mostly my show is focused, on inviting singles, and we talk a lot about love. You have that love. Thanks God, you're blessed to get this gift, in your life, and you have already plenty of results of your love. You have family, you have kids. That is absolutely beautiful. My question to every guest since now: what love is? You remember that chewing gums? Love is too, for you as an experienced person in that.
Oh gosh. First of all, I would never call myself a relationship expert in terms of love. I'm great at
You're practicing it. I'm just calling myself expert. Just working with people. You're practicing it fully.
I would say love is acceptance.
To accept, if you talk it like verbally, through work, is to accept, to
accept yourself and someone else completely. So I think growing up, I always had an idea that put love on a pedestal.
Yeah.
And that's not real. It's not about lust. It's about partnership and support and someone being there for you when things are bad. And it's about trust and knowing that you can rely on the other person. And look, there are things about me that I'm sure my husband wants to change. And there are things about him that he knows I want to change. And
you have life for that.
Yeah, right. But I think people are people. And so, I mean, who knows? But whatever happens in life. But I think accepting someone wholly and completely for the things that you love and the things that maybe aren't so great is what it's about.
Yeah. I still believe that trust to God is very similar to trust and love to a human. If you love, you accept, as you can't complain with the weather. That God sent you today, not very sunny day or whatever. So it's all about acceptance. And I always say the purpose of this show, exactly for those who come here for a reason, or love or careers, no matter what, that you're going to be opened up through this conversation in a different way and be accepted, first of all, by yourself. And if you're going to be loved by somebody, they will already understand with whom they deal with. That is very important, because actually interest creates learning, and learning creates understanding, and understanding creates acceptance, and acceptance creates love. True, deep, serious, honest love. That's we call forever. That I wish you and all our followers. Love to yourself, love to your beloved one, love to what you're doing in life, because you proved another time how much it's important. You help people to find their missionary task, their money-making profession, their career, their craft. That is absolutely amazing. I thank you so much. And tell me, please, who gonna be your nominated guest? Whom do you pass the torch to participate in Stars About Stars?
So I pass the torch to Riley and Alexandra, and I will connect them with you.
So we got two more guests. Are they locals?
One is.
Another is person from which state?
New York.
That's a good announcement, by the way, for today, because we start to do Stars About Stars project not only in the studio, but online Zoom calls as well. So everybody has an opportunity to get career of your life and love of your life. That's it. And tell me, please, JACLYN, for those who want to address you in a professional way, to be part of your journey and create their own journey in a professional thing, how they can find you? What are your social links?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. This has been a lot of fun.
My pleasure.
You can find me on my website, which is www.jaclynbeckconsulting.com. You can find me on Instagram, which is mostly focused on my podcast, which is at JACLYN Beck Consulting. And you can listen to my podcast, which is called Worked Up with JACLYN Beck. You can hear on Apple and Spotify or wherever you enjoy your shows. And my name is JACLYN, JACLYN, Beck, BECK.
You're the best. Thank you so much for being my guest. You're very special.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, and I wish you and everybody, all our followers, a beautiful day. And you can find us, Stars About Stars Project, the first astrology-based matchmaking platform for love and career seekers, through special links that is always Stars About Stars with the same name: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and website and YouTube. So, and it's always starsabouttstars.com. See you.